Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our Beaches of Fort Myers and Sanibel Masterclass, which is one of the many sessions taking place as part of the second TTG Digital Destinations Festival. Yesterday, we did a Facebook Live Masterclass on South Tyrol, the Italian province, and we launched on Monday with a seminar hosted by TTG's group editor, Pippa Jacks, and that was covering how the Balearics and the Caribbean is preparing to welcome back Brits. So if you missed any of those sessions, you can catch them on our website at ttgmedia.com/destfest. I'm Maddie Barber, Special Projects Editor at TTG, and I'm joined today by Stephanie Zink, International Tourism Sales Manager for the Fort Myers and Sanibel Tourist Board, and also Zishan Rashid, Sales and Marketing Manager for the UK office. So hello, thank you for joining me today. During this masterclass, we're going to be talking about the essential information that you need to sell Fort Myers and Sanibel, such as geography of it, the best time to visit, and what kind of itineraries are possible in the region. We're also going to be talking a bit about how to build a twin centre itinerary that incorporates the destination, a bit about the accommodation available there. We're also going to be giving you some destination knowledge about the main islands and the key regions and their unique selling points and tourism highlights. We're also going to touch on the latest news coming from Fort Myers and Sanibel, such as resource launches for agents and competitions for agents in the UK and Ireland. So if you do have any questions throughout the session, feel free to type them in the comment section of the Facebook Live video, and we'll do our best to answer them live. So kind of moving on to the essential information section first, can you tell me a little bit about the geography of the beaches of Fort Myers and Sanibel, such as how big the region is and what kind of landscapes visitors can expect to see on arrival? Is it kind of typical Florida as UK travellers might know it? Stephanie, would you like to answer that one?
Yes, thank you, Madeline. So the destination is located in Southwest Florida. It is made out of up of a total of 11 communities or cities, as we call them. Overall, the area expands over a little bit over 1,200 square miles, but we're only just a little bit shy of 800,000 residents here in the area. So it's very quaint. We also have 600 miles of shoreline and 50 miles of white sand beaches. The entire area is made out of our islands, the back bays, estuaries, the river, and of course, some of the world's best beaches. But to paint a little bit more detailed picture about the diversity that you can find here in the area, you would have on one end, you would have high-rise, colorful, eclectic Fort Myers Beach. Then you have no chain restaurants, no building taller than the tallest palm tree, wildlife sanctuary Sanibel Island, or the thriving art and entertainment river district in downtown Fort Myers, and the vacation home haven and boater's paradise in Cape Coral. So there's a lot to see and experience, and definitely a lot of diversity for all tastes and preferences. To your second question, is it typical Florida? Well, considering that most people, when they first think of Florida, there's two things that pop in mind. First is Miami South Beach, and then the lovely Mouse in Orlando. So with that in mind, my answer to that question would be a definite no. We have all the best kept assets of an old Florida charm and style, how it used to be. You add a local touch and authenticity mixed in with palm trees and untouched wildlife habitats and fantastic local seafood. That would be more like the definition for our area.
Okay, great. And the beaches of Fort Myers and Sanibel is on the Gulf of Mexico coast of Florida. So I would imagine lots of clients will be expecting warm, sunny weather. When is the best time to go to make sure that they do get that?
Well, I like to say we are a year-round destination. While I personally would not swim in the Gulf of Mexico in January or February because I'm just too spoiled to very warm water, many of our visitors do. Today, for example, it's a beautiful day, and on Sanibel, the water temperature right now is 29 degrees warm. The lowest the water temperatures historically have ever dropped was 20 degrees, and that's even in the winter months. So it's definitely a year-round destination, beach destination. One of my favorite months is May. And why? Because it's not quite as busy as the summer can get, but it's also nice and warm. So you have the perfect temperature to do all the things that you want to do while you visit. The summer, as you know, gets really, really hot, which is not a problem because there's plenty of water around to always dip in and cool off. But you also get your little 1-2 hour rain showers every day. Just to keep that in mind, if you are a very outdoorsy person, that might disrupt your day, the flow of the day. But there's plenty of things to do, like, while it rains, go to the shopping mall or step into one of the craft breweries for tasting, until the rain showers pass. Another great time for those, you can travel a little bit later in the year. October, November are also two great months because it's still really, really nice and warm. But you get into like a lot more outdoor activities, markets and festivals. And also it's a great way to get into the holiday spirit, Florida style, and maybe get some of your Christmas shopping done.
Okay, great. And Zishan, I'm going to come to you next. If a client was embarking on a twin centre trip, which is obviously popular with UK travellers, would you recommend they visit Fort Myers and Sanibel before or after their other destination? And what other destinations could be paired with yours?
So we're very close to some of the popular destinations like Orlando, 3-hour drive from Orlando, 2.5-hour drive from Miami, and 2 hours from Tampa. So really close for a multi-destination, just drive in. I always say, put our destination at the end because Orlando, Miami, great destinations, but very hectic. So by the time you come back, you're like, okay, I need another vacation. I need another holiday. I'm tired. So why not just stop over to the island, immerse into the island life, lay back, a bit R&R, and completely relax before coming back so you're ready for work. But of course, a lot of people choose to just fly straight into our destination. We have our own airport, RSW, Southwest International, and you can fly indirect via any international hub in the US. And it's probably the easiest way. So if you want to do that, if you want to come to our destination first, because all your checks are done at the international hub, and you literally just land into RSW, grab your bags, and go straight to your hotel.
Okay, great. Sounds very easy.
Very easy.
Yeah. And what type of client should agents be recommending Fort Myers and Sanibel to? I mean, what should their interest be? I mean, what kind of people should they be traveling with?
Yes. So we recently did some research, like social media research, to see who was engaging with our content, but also who was sharing images of our destination and saying, I really want to go here, because and which peers they were talking to. And we found that in the UK, it was a lot of people who were looking for outdoor nature destinations, so nature lovers, who want to go on that digital detox, bird watchers, of course, which we'll touch on too, and also couples, especially those looking for alternatives to the Caribbean and the Maldives. So a lot of people, especially on fam trips, say our destination really reminds them of the Caribbean and that this shouldn't belong in Florida. So we say we're the alternative to the Caribbean.
Okay, great. And Stephanie, what's the range of accommodation like in Fort Myers and Sanibel, and what kind of budget would it be suited to?
Well, the very short answer would be anything that you can think of. But in order to give you a little bit more details, I believe that one of our unique selling points is that we do have all types of accommodation available throughout the area, from budget to high end, from a high rise, full service resort, right, beachfront to a quaint historic inn on one of our islands, and of course, vacation homes throughout. The one thing I would like to point out, what sets us apart from a lot of other Florida beach destinations, is the vast majority of our accommodation units, especially throughout the islands, whether it be Sanibel, Fort Myers Beach, or Captiva, they have self-catering units, which include a full kitchen and a living room, and then anywhere from 1 to 3 bedrooms, which is kind of like having the comfort of home, away from home, plus some extra space. But also you have the amenities and services of a hotel or resort. I think this is especially helpful for families traveling with children, or if you have a multi-generational travel, or simply for those who wish to have extra space and option to prep a meal at home and maybe chill their favorite adult beverage right then and there. But also, when it comes to budget, if somebody is a little bit, looking to how to maximize their travel budget, staying in a self-catering unit is definitely a plus, because you don't have to eat out 3 times a day, which it can add up, especially if you have a family of 4. So we've seen over the years that a lot of visitors from overseas traveling with, let's say, family of 4, they prefer this type of accommodation just because of the comfort and ease it gives to them while they're staying here.
Okay, great, thanks. And remember, to anyone watching, if you do have any questions about Fort Myers and Sanibel, feel free to type them in the comment section of the Facebook Live video and we can answer them live for you right now. But for now, moving on to kind of the islands and the regions and their unique selling points. Now, I know Fort Myers and Sanibel has more than 100 islands, but what are the main islands, the ones that agents should incorporate into their itineraries and really kind of know most about and be most aware of?
I think some of the main islands are, we've got Estero Island. So Fort Myers is the mainland, and a lot of people think Fort Myers Beach and Fort Myers is the same, but it's not. So Estero Island is where Fort Myers Beach is. So, of course, you're coming in via Fort Myers, but I would split my time between Estero Island, Fort Myers Beach, and Sanibel, just because it's easy then to travel around. So on Fort Myers Beach, you get that Florida feel, but then as you go into Sanibel, it's closer to Sanibel is a very special island, and it's it's got its own point that we're going to come on to and talk about. But it's close to some of the other smaller islands, and you can do day trips from there and island hop. If you're going to come to our destination, you have to island hop, and you can island hop to some of the smaller islands on the Pine Island South. My favorite is Cabbage Key. So it's a very tiny island with one restaurant. And they just serve the world's best cheeseburger, so they claim. They're not competing with anyone else on the island. And then everyone goes there for a lunch, and then you can also go over to the next door to an island called Cayo Costa, which is a state park, and kind of do hiking trails there, get close to the wildlife. And you can do that from Sanibel. You can catch a ferry from there. So I would split my time between Estero Island and Sanibel Island.
Okay, thank you. And Stephanie, what are the unique selling points of Sanibel Island? I mean, what's so special about it, and what's unique about this particular island?
Well, for Sanibel, there's truly a lot of uniqueness about that island. I could probably speak to that for hours, but in the interest of time, I'm going to try to do my best and summarize it a little bit for everyone. I believe truly Sanibel is one of its kind. There's no such thing anywhere in the US, maybe not even in the world. Not only is it the shell capital of the world, due to its unique east-west orientation in the Gulf of Mexico, it scoops up over 400 different types of seashells every day, which is definitely a great pastime for locals and visitors, a great activity to take, especially for kids, because it's cheap and it entertains them for hours, just to try to find the prettiest or the biggest seashell. Also, as I mentioned earlier on the island, there's no chain restaurants, there are no chain hotels. So this makes any experience that you have on the island truly authentic. You won't eat in a restaurant that you could easily eat at if you were in Miami or in Orlando. So once you leave the island, everything that you've touched, that you've seen, that you've eaten, you can truly say that it was 100% Sanibel made. Also, there are no traffic lights on the island. Like Zishan was mentioning earlier, imagine you combining this trip with the Twin Center and you're coming from Orlando, where you have had a lot of impact, lights and traffic and people. And now you cross this a little bit over a mile causeway and you come to Sanibel and there's no traffic lights. There's 6, I think, stop signs throughout the islands. So it's a very, very slow pace. And just remember one thing, the turtles and the bikers always have the right of way. And speaking of bikes, there's about 25 miles of bike paths throughout the island, which makes it the perfect way to get around, both for locals and visitors. To a point where now a lot of the hotels on the island actually include free bikes for their guests, just so that they can ensure that when you are staying on Sanibel, you become as much as part of the Sanibel community as the locals are and bike your way around the island. You will also find no building taller than the tallest palm tree, which when people ask me, how tall is this? It's about 3 stories high. And the reason for that is because we were trying to always keep the look and feel of Sanibel as untouched as possible. So when you first come over that causeway, you won't really see big high-rise buildings, which kind of distracts everyone because they think, where is my hotel? Because they can't at first see it. And speaking of keeping everything as natural as possible, Sanibel is also home to the Jayending Darling National Wildlife Refuge, which is the largest undeveloped mango ecosystem in the United States, and it covers two-thirds of the entire island. So this is what I call the cage-free zoo that we have on Sanibel, because this is definitely the place to go and spot any kind of wildlife, and it's impossible to leave there without having spotted the birds, the turtles, sometimes even an alligator, or dolphins or manatees. And definitely you won't miss seeing them play in their natural habitat, which makes it truly special.
Yes, it sounds wonderful. Great. And Zishan, how does Captiva Island differ from Sanibel Island?
So Captiva is a small island at the end of Sanibel Island, but very different. So it's my favorite island. It's a very, I like to call it bohemian chic. It's a small island adopted by artists. Everyone's an inspiring artist, and it's really quirky and cool. You know, you'll see these vibrant restaurants and stores. You know, that, like Stephanie said, that they're not franchises, they're one-offs. And it's the one where you really get that island life feel. Even the landscape, it reminds you of the Caribbean with the rugged palm trees, and you know, the road and the sidewalk are the same. And it's where every time I could take on a family trip to, like, this doesn't belong in Florida. And it's a very cool, special place that I think really is kind of, apart from Sanibel, it's another attraction of Fort Myers and Sanibel.
Great. And I know Stephanie mentioned some wildlife and nature attractions there. But Zishan, did you want to elaborate on that and kind of the experiences that visitors can have on the island?
Yes, definitely. So right now we're in turtle season. So from May to October, you have turtle nesting season. So Sanibel, Fort Myers Beach, you'd see them there. But of course, you know, we're in Southwest Florida, so dolphins and manatees everywhere. As you know, I remember Stephanie always says, if you don't see a dolphin, you'll be the first person in our destination not to see a dolphin. And then, so the best way to really see the sea creatures is kayaking, getting into the mangroves, getting close up to them. The manatees will come and push you along the way. I heard they're vegetarian, so it doesn't matter if anything, they do come out. And we're a birding paradise. Like I said, bird watchers know our destination. They love our destination. We have 9 different local and migratory species of birds. So, you know, take out your book, start marking them. I was never a big birder until I really went to the destination. And when you see a species that you've never seen before, you can't help but be in awe, like, oh, wow.
Yeah, great. And of course, I need to ask about Fort Myers as well, it's in the name. What are the tourism highlights on the mainland?
So we also have a Times Square like New York, but ours is not as crowded as the one in New York, which I guess is a blessing. And so the first and third of the month, they do an art and music walk. So you can walk through Times Square, and there'll be smaller festivities going on. And also it's culturally rich, and people wouldn't have thought that, but we have the Edison and Ford Winter Estate. So Thomas Edison, who founded the light bulb, as well as many other things, and Henry Ford, founder of Ford Automobiles, best friends, live next door to each other. And you can see Henry Ford's lab Thomas Edison's lab, where they say he found the final flint to the light bulb. You can see Mr. Ford's collection of cars. And it's a great piece of history to learn. You know, I learned that Thomas Edison was richer, but he's more savvy with his money, whereas Henry Ford was a bit of a show off. And Thomas Edison kind of created marketing and branding that we use now. So it takes you back in time, and a good history lesson.
Yeah, it sounds interesting. Sounds like there's a good offering for a range of interests there as well.
Exactly.
Great. So kind of moving on to the trade news that you have to share. I believe you're launching your first ever UK trade website this month. But when will it be available to agents to start using? And what resources will they find on the new site?
Yeah, so unspoiledflorida.com is going to be launching end of this month, and it'll be the first ever UK trade site, and it'll be a one-stop shop for everything. So if you're working on brochures, you can get product information on our destinations, copy, our best itineraries that we recommend from there. You can get access to our image and library assets, our online training, webinars such as these will be put up there, webinars from local partners, and news and updates. So what's happening on the islands, what's happening from the UK office, events that agents can turn up to. So it'll be your one-stop shop for everything, Fort Myers and Sanibel.
Okay, great. And are you currently running any competitions or incentives for travel agents in the UK and Ireland?
We are. So our online training course at the moment is called island-findings.com. Take the course by the end of this month, and 10 agents will win goodie bags from Fort Myers and Sanibel. So seashell necklaces, manatee toys, manatee tea infusers, sunglasses. So yeah, I will already say that we've had a lot of entries, I believe almost 100. So you know, get in there. Competition's still going. Got 2 more weeks to go.
Yeah, tough competition.
Yes.
Cool. Cool. And Stephanie, coming back to you, is there anything else agents should know about the beaches of Fort Myers and Sanibel before we finish?
Well, all I can really say at this point, we're ready to welcome our UK friends back as soon as they can come over. We are definitely and have some of Florida's most natural beaches here, the water that surrounds us, and islands to escape to for the day, and lots of activities to get away from it all, including large crowds. So, like we said throughout the presentation, some say we are like the Caribbean when it comes to the flair and the atmosphere here, the island lifestyle. So by that, this is an open invitation to everyone to reach out, to come out and experience it for yourself. And like Zishan mentioned, there's lots of new things coming to be available to the UK trade. One of the things is, of course, our unspoiledflorida.com trade UK side, but also just announced, it will be live and available on June 23rd, is our Shellcast. It's a podcast series. At the moment, there will be 3 different ones. They're all about interviews with wildlife experts. We'll take you on a beach walk, learn about, get out in the water, learn about our wildlife from locals. So we invite you to, look out for that. It will also be available on unspoiledflorida.com. And just stay in touch. And if anything, reach out and stay well.
Okay, great. Thank you. I think that's just about all we've got time for today. But if you are watching and you do have any questions that we didn't get to answer live, you can type them in the comment section and we will get back to you in retrospect. So you can tune into our next masterclass for the TTG Digital Destinations Festival at 11 AM tomorrow, and that is with Samoa. So you can learn all about that Polynesian island nation. And if you did miss any of the other masterclasses or the seminar that we did, you can see that also at ttgmedia.com/DestFest. You can catch up with all the content and see the schedule of events there. So a big thank you to Stephanie and Zishan for joining me today. And thank you very much to everyone for watching. We'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.